order and stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move to approve the minutes for March 24th.
Second.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Iacona? And Mr. Gemberlein?
Yes.
Departmental updates. Who wants to go first?
Good evening. EMS billing paperwork is being gathered, ready for submission. I just got some questions from Nancy that I need to answer for her. Our new engine rescue is finally being built at Sutton. It should be ready in May or April. Our new gear washer that we just got with our BWC grant has been installed and it's up and running. Let's see what else is there. We're working on a mailer for the residents to help explain EMS billing. Matt and I kind of worked on that a little bit. I sent a couple months ago. I sent something to you guys, but now we're getting closer to doing it. We're going to look at that a little bit more. And we also have some SOPs we have to institute to go along with our billing once we get it started. So that's about it.
Road department. We replaced a 36-inch concrete pipe down on Red Lane. It had been separating over the years, so we went ahead and tore it out, put new plastic in. We've been picking up trash after the snow, filling potholes. We burned some of Clark Shaw. It was paved last year, and they burned it, but it dropped. Cutting down trees on Taggart, and the salt barn is full for next year, as long as we don't get any more snow. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, John.
How you doing? It's kind of business as normal as part getting ready to kick off soccer. They tentative date is tomorrow. We'll start setting goals tomorrow with the rain and things like that. Been picking up trash, equipment maintenance, getting everything ready to go for the spring. Started our mulching and edging all the flower beds and all that kind of stuff. So trying to get everything ready to go.
Do you have any Eagle Scout projects this spring?
We had one inquire about a rocket launch pad, which he was wanting to basically put a 4-foot-high steel rod in the ground. And I asked if we could maybe change it up a little bit. I don't think we need that. And then we had one stop in the other day and was inquiring about working on the fence over at 315 and Home Road at the cemetery. So those are the only two so far. Thank you.
The Board of Zoning Appeals had 2 meetings in March and heard 5 applications in which they approved a lot split, which will leave the accessory building without a primary structure. They approved sign changes for the Wedgwood Commerce Building, which is across from the Ohio Health Emergency Center. They continue to request for variances to fence regulations, and they approved modifications for all these signage and their exterior brick color. The Zoning Commission had 1 meeting in March and heard 1 application as well as code revision discussions. They continue to request for the modifications to the villas at Loch Lomond, and they took more testimony regarding the use of swimming pool covers in lieu of the currently required fencing. And this, obviously all of the code amendments have to come before this board. The Zoning Commission is kind of struggling with this. There's been a few residents who have shown interest in allowing a certain swimming pool cover in lieu of the required fencing. And it's a little bit different when you're talking about, 2 or 3 individuals, but when you're talking about the changing a safety code like this for the entire township, it's taken a lot of thought and consideration. So you may want to do some research on that because it will be coming before your board, hopefully soon. We plan on wrapping up the code revisions for this round in April. We keep saying that, but this time it's gonna be the end. You might want to take a drive down Heights Road. They've started construction of the Stites Road extension. It's looking real different up there, but we're growing north, and that's a good thing. So it's interesting to see it from the ground, starting from the ground up. So you may want to take a drive out there.
That's probably a roundabout, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Tracy, on the pool covers, has there been adjustments in the surrounding townships stance on the?
Some of them yes, some of them no.
Okay.
And that's, you know, we're considering that, we're considering, you know, even the different cities that have changed. It's really a mixed bag right now. But we will have those stats for you.
I knew the pool covers were for safety purposes.
I'm sorry?
I never knew the pool covers were for safety purposes.
Yes, they've come a long way with the technology, and they seem to be safe, but there's always that vertical barrier it's a struggle.
And I thought they were to keep stuff out of the pool.
Well, yeah.
In order to warm the pool if, you know, some of them will radiate heat.
Right, and I think that's what they that's their original function, but they've come such a long way with the materials and the mechanics that it's a little bit impressive, really.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's a big decision. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
For HR, we're done with our union negotiations, and I'm working to schedule a labor management meeting, hopefully for the end of April or early May. I've been working on public records requests and digital storage. All the resolutions are now digitally stored and searchable. The minutes after 2008 are all digitally stored and searchable, and I'll continue doing that. I put out a medical marijuana policy that was a recommended addition for handbooks. And the motor vehicle policy will be coming out hopefully within the next week or two. And I have also been working with the department heads to update job descriptions and do an annual push on those, so all employees will have a copy of their job description. And I'm using Paylocity to do all that, and it seems to be working. I went to an Ohio Auditor Workshop training, and we did handbook training, minutes and resolutions training, which was kind of interesting about what we should be and should not be doing with our minutes and resolutions. Interviewing, and there were some other things that I attended. There's no service milestones this month. We did have our annual benefits meetings last week, and Balance EAP, every month they have free webinars. So this month, for April, leading with emotional intelligence, there's one for supervisors and management, and there's one for all employees and family members, and those are on our Balance EAP website, but they're all free and good resource for everyone. And then later in the agenda, I have a workers' comp issue to switch TPA services, and we can talk about it then.
Last but not least, as Kathy said, a lot of following up with the IAFF contract negotiations, a lot of discussion on the pod development, safety council, which is a requirement of BWC, emergency attendance, attending the local schools, Old and Tandy Local Schools Business Advisory Committee, and then just towards the end of this month, we had some issues across the street with the pump station, which there's something on the agenda for that. So overall, about 5% of my time is development, 50% communications, 20% quality of life, 25% safety and operations, and that is all part of the strategic plan.
Fiscal can report that we've had a whole year now of our investment plan, and we made about $150,000 in interest.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
For one total year.
This is all something you recommended in that minute, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No other questions or updates. We do have Scott L. Castro from Trey Bell here to bring us up to date on the utility aggregation, which was approved by the voters last November.
Hi, good evening, trustees. As Matt has mentioned, it is Scott Del Castro with Trey Bell. Just want to give you guys an update on where we're at with this aggregation, talk about next steps, and then we'll go from there. So just last year was a really remarkable year. Trey Bell grew at record rates. Again, we had a lot of success in meeting with various communities. I think 69% of all ballot issues on the ballots throughout the state were Trey Bell aggregation ballots, and we've seen some of our competitors lose. I think it was like 6 out of 7 the ballots that they had, and I think we passed 9 out of 12. In addition to picking up some other communities throughout the state where I think we did some good work there to help them. And we were able to move into, I think another noteworthy thing is in addition to our growth, we were able to set some of the lowest rates in the market, in the AEP market, for example. I believe we set the lowest rate in the market recently. And we've just had a really good year in terms of getting customer service up to snuff and moving our company forward. For residents here in the audience and for your trustees, this is something that we pledged to you early. I continue to tell you that we're going to stand behind that. We have Jen Brown, who sits in our office, and she is there solely to answer phones all day for resident questions. She does a really good job. She's been training for over a year now, and she's just taking care of business. Lucas here is with me this evening. He's our new Director of Operations. Some of you, Matt, I know you've spoken with Lucas before, but he's here to make sure that our quarterly reporting is done well, our annual reporting, answer questions, help with getting these bids in and out, and he's also been on top of that, reaching out to other trustees to help. So super busy. A real quick update to keep this short, but energy markets, we've been blessed again. Just timing everything for Liberty Township here has been great. And last November, December, if many of you can recall, we had a blip up in rates really fast. Didn't have a lot of legs to stand on, in my opinion. I didn't understand, we saw, not that I didn't understand it, but they were saying that there's a shortage, there was cold weather. November, you saw rates go from, call it 280, 275 last year, and then they ran up in December to almost $5. So huge movements very quickly. It's a very volatile market, and more volatile is more risk, and we just want to start thinking about how to minimize those risks. Fast forward to today. Same pricing was at about 278, 280 today, and it was at 265. Actually, pardon me. It is about 270 today, closed for next month, and it was 265 a few days ago. But it's, you know what I'm saying, it's fluctuating back in there. Bottom line is, rates are coming down. They're way down, and this is a great time for us to be out to bid. So we're excited about it, and I think the process by which we work. As I already mentioned, our rates have been really good, so we're excited about that. Lucas and I have been working together. April, we issued an RFP. That request for proposal goes out to all of our suppliers, and those suppliers will be responding on April 8th to our RFP. So today I'm before you, and we've worked out a little bit of a new process here, so bear with me. With all of our programs. So we issue that RFP out there. It is due April 8th. It just happens to be with Liberty on an off week, right? Because you guys are meeting today, and then that would put you at the 22nd. Do you guys have a meeting the 22nd, Matt? No?
19th.
What is it?
Next, 2 weeks from today. The 15th.
15th? Okay. So 15th. Our bids are on the 8th, so we're looking, still looking at 7 days after. Probably not, pulled the wrong number, sorry. Regardless, what happens in our world, we are in markets and they move all the time, every day. They're always moving. Blessing. So what ends up happening is we get bids in and we meet with a lot of different communities, and we have to move kind of quickly because of the market. I bring you bids on the 8th, but then we don't meet till the 15th. So we have this spread of days where there's market risk to us. And we're trying to, what Traybell has been trying to do is devise a way to remove that market risk. And so what we've come up with is most of our bids, by the way, typically have like a 10-day hold. We ask the suppliers to hold bids for 10 days. To some degree, it's a little bit difficult to do that. If a market starts falling apart quickly, as it did last November, you can't hold rates that long. It just isn't gonna work. It's not fair to suppliers, and the markets won't work like they can't just go out on give you the same rate that they gave you on that date. So what we've come up with is this process by which now we're asking our trustees and other community leaders to approve today. We will be talking to you about rates. We know that rates with the utility are at 5.4 cents a kilowatt hour. Historically, rates have been closing at 5.0, 5.1, 5.2. If you look at the surrounding areas in the area, which we did like a year and a half, 2 years ago, those rates were at 5.2, 5.3, and they have about a year remaining left on them. We would be asking that if we can close and our bids come in and we can get rates delivered to you at under 5 cents a kilowatt hour, that one of you is authorized to go ahead and execute an agreement quickly. And what this does is it allows us to eliminate the risk premium that the suppliers build into their rate, that they're holding up the artificial rates because they're saying, hey, well, you have a 10-day hold on your RFP. Because we have market risk for 10 days, we have a risk premium built into that. And I said, okay, well, I want to get rid of the risk premium so I can have my rate close the rate at or lower than whatever you bid quickly. So one way to do this, and the most efficient way for the trustees, if we were to have rates come in at the 8th, and you don't meet till the 15th, I have only one choice. Ask you to come in for a special meeting, which trustees typically don't like to do, or we wait till the 15th, and that bid process is kind of moot, really. I mean, I can hand you the rates, but the rates have moved since moved, right? Maybe we can hold it that long, and typically we've been pretty successful in doing that, but it does get kind of rather tense with the suppliers. And in order to get rid of that nervousness for them, the way to do this is simple. We get your approval this evening. We're asking for you to just simply make a motion to have one of you, it could even be Matt, as long as the rate is somewhere under 5 cents a kilowatt hour, we're okay as the trustees to go ahead and have Matt sign. And so on the 8th, I will receive the rates, I will distribute those rates to you. I will call each one of you, discuss it with you, just so we're all on the same page. And then we'll, if it came in at, for example, I just want to give you an example of this. If it came in at 5.2, and the delivery rate that I'm going to deliver to you is 5.2, your motion this evening means that you can't sign, right? I mean, your backstop is no one's signing that. And frankly, I'll come here and say, okay, we anticipated it to be X, and it's now Y, here's what happened. And I'll just meet with you on the 15th and we'll talk about it and what our next steps are there. But from this perspective, it just allows us to be more efficient, be quick. And one of the other things that we've noticed is we get bids in, this does happen, that on the 8th, I'm using this as a hypothetical, the rates come in, and then they trickle down, ever so slightly. So if the rates came in at 491, for an example, but over the next 2 days or whatever, the market kept sliding downwards, I'm allowed to then take advantage of that. I'll refresh that rate and get you guys at 487. But I have that flexibility because you're giving me the authority to do that. But I can tell you, we will not be closing on anything that I've talked about here publicly this evening. So you're protected. We all know what we're walking into, and I do believe that we're going to have a very good program for your township. I'm going to go ahead and take some questions, and then hopefully we can, move this thing forward for next
Council,
week.
what you're suggesting is just to give you the authority to lock in rates.
I don't have the authority. I'm giving you the authority. I'm just giving me the ability to come to you and say,
Right.
if it's under 5 cents a kilowatt hour, and I believe it's going to be under that, well under that, based on what we closed recently, then I'm telling you, we've been closing in the mid 495s right now, okay? And even slightly below that. So if I can deliver under 5 cents a kilowatt hour, does Matt have your permission to sign that agreement? That's what I'm asking. All right. And remember, if Matt thinks the rate stinks, it's a 5.1, 5.2, he doesn't sign, right? I mean, so I can't, I don't have any authority to do it. Again, I'm just a facilitator.
So you're saying below 5 cents, that's the total cost?
Yes.
I mean, a residents who then see a bill that has their kilowatt times, let's say 4.95 or 0.495 or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
That's
That's
a
it.
lot of line cost to them.
There's
For the
no other-
supply generation portion of the bill. The other transmission, that stuff will still remain the same, right? Just for the
Per
supply.
kilowatt, per kilowatt.
Yes, the generation kilowatt is all in, it's just, that's the number, it's not gonna change, there's no other fees, just like we told you. That's the rate. And so what will happen is, on the 8th, we get the rates. I'll probably communicate to the trustees. I'll call you hopefully by 5 o'clock, maybe even Tuesday morning. If I see the market still sliding, I'm gonna let it ride. I'll call you on Tuesday and say, okay, we're ready to move forward. You sign it, we get the signature review, we get the signature of the supplier, and then we file our opt-out letters so that we can get those docketed with the PUCO. Those have to be docketed. They sit there for 10 days. On the 11th or 12th day, those letters will go out to your residents. And so everybody in here that currently has the default rate with the utility, you will receive an opt-out letter from Traybell that describes the rate. All of our programs, by the way, have no early termination fee, which means you can leave whenever you feel like. And it just gives you the terms and conditions, all the legalese that you're more than welcome to read through. And so we have a lot of calls flooding in Traybell at that point, asking questions from residents. And this is going back to my conversation at the beginning. The good thing is we have Jennifer there, we have Lucas there, we have myself. We take calls, we help people to get to the right place. If anybody is in here, just so you know, if you've chosen your own supplier, you stay with that supplier because you're under contract. We do not take you out of your contract. So you don't have to worry about that. However, a large part of our calls that we get every day are simply, my contract is ending, how do I get into your program, your township program? How do I do that? And we facilitate it. And so, Lucas, Jen Brown, their instructions from me are just to do the right thing. Whatever the right thing for that customer is, just do it. Even if it means sending them back to the utility and they don't use the program, if that's the right thing for the customer because their unique situation comes up, just tell them that. That's what their instructions are. Do the right thing. So
Why couldn't you do this on the 12th and bring it to us on the 15th?
Well, we've got numerous townships, not just Liberty, that we went to bid with. So it's kind of one of those like where we're juggling many different meeting dates at once, and it's just difficult to get this many put together. I think in this case we have 8, 6, something like that.
on this round?
For this one, there's going to be, I believe, everything that we had on the ballot last year will all go into this RFP. So there's 9 different townships that are spread out all across the state. And the majority of those, we're in the process of working with to get this pre-authorization. There's a couple that meet on the 8th, the night that they come in out in the western part of the state. But by doing it this way, like Scott said, we're able to not only are we able to reduce that risk premium, but we're also able to float the rate. If we need to get everybody ready to sign on the 8th, and then if the markets are trending down, like he said, we can follow for 3 or 4 days and be a little bit more nimble, a little bit more flexible to follow the market, because that can be the difference in a 492 and a 488, just a blip in the market from a day or two. And so by doing it this way, not only are we able to get to everybody in advance so that we can be pre-authorized to sign it, but we're not struggling, as we have in the past, with going to meet with 10 different townships in a 7-day period, which can be just a nightmare.
Just to give you an idea too, we just used this process successfully. We closed 16 programs.
26 altogether.
Well, 16 programs, about, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We had to go see them, we pre-authorized everything, and it was just like bam, 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 bam. So
you're saying you had 16 townships that gave you pre-authorization?
17 actually, but yes.
Yeah. And we just did all of the rest of Delaware too.
And all of the Delaware County ones, which is separate from those 17, we got pre-authorization here in Delaware for, I think, 6 different townships for that as well.
And have you seen all that paperwork? Have you seen the other 17 that did that? Is this the first you're hearing of?
Why would Matt see the 17?
I'm asking, is this the first time you've heard of it tonight about them doing the pre-authorization?
Well, Scott kind of mentioned it on the phone call, but I wasn't sure exactly what all it entailed.
Let me be clear, it's not a necessity. You guys are not required to do it that way. We can hold the bids. We write it in the RFP that we can hold the bids up to 10 days. There's just a risk that it's involved with that, in that if you don't have a meeting till the 17th, it's been 7 days. If the market changes negatively, then you're going to have a worse rate than you would if you were pre-authorized to sign. So we can do it both ways. That's not a problem.
So are you asking us to give Matt the authorization to look at it and decide, or are you saying you're asking us to say that if it's under 5, he absolutely will sign?
What we have done with other townships is we've gone through a motion or gone through a resolution to give a particular trustee or administrator the authority to sign on behalf of the township at a rate not to exceed 5 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
Which inherently, if it's underneath 5, it's a good rate.
So I guess if we came to you and said 495, what would be an objection to closing that, I guess, is maybe the trustees? What do you guys, what would be an objection?
What's the current rate?
Well, there's no current rate, there's just
Well, I
rates in the
understand
market.
like a general,
5.4.
like current resident now.
With the utilities rate, with the utilities, AEP's default rate is currently 5.4 cents a kilowatt hour. All right? It's been there since last, I think, July.
My objection, I'm just not an expert in this field, and I did not see this coming. I knew you called, I had gotten back to you, so I didn't see this coming, so I don't know. I can tell me it's 5.4, but I don't know exactly. I haven't done all my homework on that, and so right now I'm going to have to take a vote about giving something that just.
Well, I mean, there's two things. There are two things here, right, if you don't mind me saying. Number one, this is partly why you hired us. We're experts in our field. I'm going to do what's right for this township. So we've just delivered the lowest rates in the market. We're not going to treat Liberty any different than anybody else. We want what's best for you so that you're happy. I mean, I don't, you know what I'm saying? To be, and I understand what you're saying, you're not an expert, so I don't know how you get there. And, I did want to talk to you last week about it so we could preempt, the conversation here, and I can give you a more detailed analysis on market, but we're closing, right now we have been seeing almost, all of our rates, frankly, under 5 cents a kilowatt at this point. And so, I couldn't, if you're saying that I don't want to close because there's between a 489, a 487, and a 491, we're talking about almost $1.50, you know, a month or whatever, you know, for a resident. We're talking, I think the bigger purpose here is to provide something that I think is gonna be good now for the next 2 to 3 years. So that's my hope.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I find it interesting that there is, in this field, they know with certainly with the governments, that, you know, they don't meet so often. You know, you're talking about, you guys usually do the 10-day hold, but it sounds like then there's a markup on the 10-day hold. It just, and I know you said that the prices were dropping.
Yeah.
It just seems,
No, I
guess I'm still
you're not
just-
the only one that's uncomfortable with the
Yeah.
process, I get it. But I also like to use my analogy, and some people have asked me, well, why can't we hold the rates? And it's like, well, I want to buy Microsoft stock next Tuesday. What's the rate going to be? I don't know. You know, this morning I can quote you at whatever dollars it was, and then by this afternoon it's at a different rate. You know what I'm saying? That is the exact same thing with energy markets, and it is a little uncomfortable. It is a little uncomfortable sometimes with governments because you guys meet on specific days, you know, and then you have to do specific things. And we've seen in other states where, you know, they meet, they have Matt go out somewhere and meet at a location with other groups, and they all, you know, the rate comes in and they close. Everyone closes. You don't even get really, you know, any say in the matter. It's just he goes out, meets up with a bunch of people, they get signatures from everyone all at once. You know, it's a tough thing. I can only promise you that we've got a great track record, and we're going to continue just to do the right thing for you. That's all I can give you. So one more thing. What I'm asking for this evening would be give Matt the authority.
Or trustee.
Or trustee. I like you, Matt, sorry. I would give Matt or the trustee, one of the trustees, who's ever more accessible, because you guys know they're coming in on the 8th or 9th. If any one of you is in Bermuda on either of those dates, I'd rather not work with them unless I have free ticket down there. But regardless, approval to close as long as that rate's under 5 cents a kilowatt hour on a 24 or 36 month program. And I can already tell you right now, based on old bids, these other bids that we've been getting in, the 12-month programs are terrible. They're not going to help anybody in here. So that's what I'm asking for.
We have a resident question. If you want to take that.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to.
Correct, thank you. So you said that the RFPs have already gone out?
They're out.
Okay. So you request 24 and 36 month quotes, and you'll determine which you think is best for our situation based on the terms?
Yeah, we've had some where we thought maybe going into it, the 24-month was going to be the better program, and the supplier did something crazy low in terms of rate. We're like, whoa, you can't ignore that 36 month. You should jump on it. So, but the 12 months across the board lately have been terrible.
So if the bids have already gone out, you mentioned both a 10-day hold that involves a risk premium, that increases the rate, and you're interested in removing that risk premium. So can you specify if the RFP called for the 10-day hold that includes risk premium, or no risk premium and no hold?
There's no specification for it. Through our experience, we found that, and talking with the suppliers, that they're like, well, we have to hold this for so long, we want to keep, our bid comes in a little bit higher so that we can have a buffer. Well, I want to get rid of the buffer so that I can get the lowest rate, right?
Sure, but did your bids ask for that 10-day hold so that would include buffer, or did it not ask for 10-day hold so that would be?
I was asking for a 10-day hold because we've got to cover a period like this where we get the bids in on the 8th.
Sure.
We might meet with one group on the 10th, one group on the 15th, and another on the 18th. So I would like to cover that, that hold.
So if you already have a 10-day hold built in, and the next trustee meeting is the 15th, it seems that you would have an opportunity to meet with this board, have a rate decided on, and still be inside your hold date, or your hold limit.
Yes. So one of the things that these suppliers can do, and we have a page in there at the end, there is a page in there that says if you have any exceptions to our RFP, our request, you're welcome to add that. So if someone, for example, said, well, I don't agree with your no early termination fee, we have to have a $10 fee, they'll put that in there. One of the things that always comes up a lot with some of our suppliers, especially some of the larger ones, is they won't agree to the 10-day hold. Or in practice, you have to realize there is a little bit of gray area here, right? We have a 10-day hold, but if the market moves substantially, I can't hold them to that. No one's going to enter into an agreement where they're losing money day one. It just isn't going to happen.
And then the last part is when you were here in October, you mentioned that you would be transparent and fully disclose your fee structure as part of the rate. Can you tonight disclose the millage rate that you were charging consumers?
Yeah, we don't know specifically yet because we're going to maintain some flexibility in figuring out where the rates sit and then what we can deliver to you, but it's going to be somewhere within a mill to 2 mills. We're pretty typically in that range.
And you'll fully disclose what that rate is?
Always do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And how many RFPs did you send out?
Just one. It encompasses, what was it? 9 communities.
So you sent one letter to one supplier?
No, we send, oh, I see what you're asking me, sorry. There was one RFP sent to like nine different suppliers, wasn't it? 9, 10, something like that? 9 or 10 suppliers.
And will you be telling the trustees what those companies were?
You bet. Yep.
And when they,
I have to see who responds, right? Because some might choose not to respond.
Right. And when they do respond, will you tell the trustees which companies those were and what the rates were?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what my job is. Yeah.
Just, you said some of the rates were coming in at 4.88, 4.9. Why do you set it at 5? Why don't you set it at 4.9? If it goes under 4.9, authorize them to do it instead of 5. That's a big swing.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, if we're really closing, it is a big swing, but at the same time, it isn't. Like, if we're in that 4.95 range, it could move. I mean, I don't want to tie myself down to it. I don't know what the rates are going to be yet. I can just tell you anything under 5 right now is a pretty good rate. It's in the lowest rates of the entire AV market.
But you're asking them to tie it down when, at that point, before it's time.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you what the rate is now, but you ever heard the term oversell and non-deliver? I mean, sure. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just trying to be as neutral on this right now until I get. I know what my history is, and that's fine, and I'm confident we're gonna be okay, but I'm just trying to give us a range to work with.
Scott, if we approve the 5, we're still going to try to get lower than 5, correct?
Oh, yeah, this isn't like, oh, hey, it's gonna be at 5, I'm gonna come back at 4.99, that's not the point. The point is just to have that range, I mean, above, let me just say this, above 5, based on what we've seen so far, I need to revisit that with you, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Like, beyond that, I'm probably gonna go, hey, I don't know what's going on here, let me get it, I'm gonna go find out, all right?
So, but on the fees, it can be 1 or 2, which is double. So I guess what I'm saying is if we gave the authority to one of the other trustees or to one of the trustees or to Matt, and it comes in at 4.8, what is the discussion on your fees then?
It's already in there. It's already in the rate. Yeah.
So it would, 4.8 would be what the residents would charge?
We don't move anything. Everybody, all the suppliers have the same RFP, they all bid on the same, we don't move things. We don't move things around, like in terms of like one supplier gets this or that. I mean, we know there's a lot of other firms out there that do unscrupulous things. We're very regimented in how we do it. And then if we have to make a slight adjustment on our part to ensure your program is successful, that's what I'll do. I have to make a business decision at that point, If I legitimately take this RFP, I get my answers, and I look at it and I go, I already knew, probably, and I don't know this, but I'm saying there's a high probability, year 1.35 or 1 3/4 that they're going to be underwater in their program. But I want to mess with that a little bit. I've got a really good track record being in the money, so to speak. Genoa Township, for more, what is it, 34 months or better, has saved money every single month. That's not by mistake. Yeah.
So you said you just did this process with a collection of, 17 townships?
Yes.
Did this pre-authorization? And what was the rate that you got for them, and what was the millage that you charged?
Well, they were, first of all, they were in Ohio Edison markets, so it doesn't compare to AEP, so.
What does that mean? I'm not familiar with Ohio Edison.
Sure. There's, you're familiar with AEP, Ohio, so throughout Ohio, there's districts, and there's Ohio Edison, which is up north, Toledo Edison, there's Duke Energy, and then out west, there's DP&L, Dayton Power and Light. So there's these different utilities that are there. And what I'm saying is, each one of them in the state is guided by the PUCO's, with the PUCO's guidance in their different areas. So they're not. So the rate that you're going to get over in Ohio Edison, Dayton Power and Light, completely different. What we call a tariff, completely different. Doesn't apply to what happens here in AEP. So that's why. If I don't. What was the rate over there anyhow? It was in the 4s though. It was under 5 cents a kilowatt hour. All right. So.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and try some verbiage here. Help me, or you wanna write it up, Kathy?
Sure.
I guess Matt, are you here on the 8th? On the 9th?
I believe so.
Okay.
Just double check my calendar to make sure.
I'll be in bed.
Okay. And we'll put your name. So we'll just do a resolution to give Matt authority to sign any agreement under 5 kilowatts per hour.
5 cents
On
per
behalf,
kilowatt.
5 cents per kilowatt hour on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
I am here on the 8th.
Okay. And how about the 9th? Because if it comes in on the 8th, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be here on the 9th?
And before any decisions, just interject, before any decisions are made or anything like that, whenever the bids come in, I'll be putting together a bid matrix that will have all the suppliers, all the bids, all the terms and everything, and I will put it on individually as the trustee. So you'll have an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm always available to speak about what's going on behind the scenes as well.
I believe Scott said you're on a call, each trustee on the
Yeah.
8th or 9th?
Yeah, as soon as, I think they come in at about noon, so expect me to give a call somewhere, between noon and 4 or something. We've got a lot of people call, so.
Yeah, and I mean, and we chose you, we need to put our faith in you, but in the same thing, I don't have a problem having a special meeting, and it doesn't matter what supplier, I wouldn't be comfortable with this arrangement, but it's not good. Okay.
Is it okay?
One more thing, can I, if you don't mind,
Yeah, no.
if you could also constrict that language to be a 24 or 36 month
Oh, yeah.
term.
Okay.
Okay? Just so that we're.
I'm not understanding what the harm is for us to have a special meeting when this comes in, if we can turn it around quickly.
Availability, I think, is the problem. Next on,
We could do an evening though.
I don't know that I can. Okay, so what do you have, Kathy?
Motion to give Matt Huffman authority to sign any agreement for 5 cents or less per kilowatt hour for a 24-month or 36-month program on behalf of the trustees with Trey Bell.
Does that sound right, Scott?
Just as long as we don't confuse, just can you scratch with Trey Bell, with the supply, with the end supplier? Yeah. I just don't want it to be implied that we're the ones, that we're not a supplier, we're an agent on your behalf. I think that's good, and we'll be fine.
Now, if I call that 1904016, can we do it now?
You can just do it as a motion, not a resolution. That way you don't have to do a number with it. Just
Okay.
do by motion.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve Matt Huffman.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Motion to give Matt Huffman authority to sign any agreement for 5 cents or less per kilowatt hour for a 24-month or 36-month program on behalf of the trustees with the end supplier.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
You're planning to be here, potentially.
Okay. All right, good. So just as a message to anybody in the room, residents, if you want, I guess it looks like I will be here on the 15th.
Roll call.
If questions have, I'll be glad to answer.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
No.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes. Scott, once that goes in place, once you have all that, when will it be implemented?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, if I could
Yeah,
give
go ahead.
a little bit of a timeline.
Yeah, you can.
So bids are back in on the 8th. We anticipate probably filing opt-out letters for you guys on the 16th, which will be the day after the 15th. That's kind of the latest. You guys are cycle 1. You've got a lot of residents that are cycle 1. So that would be, I think, the 30th of May for a June start where everything has to be submitted. Opt-out letters will be going in on the 16th through PUCO. They would probably be mailed out on the 26th of this month. So they would come back in 21 days later. And during that same period, we also send out, which I'll work with Matt and the trustees as well, we usually also send out on our dime what's called an energy bulletin. It goes out to all the customers who've already chosen their own supplier. It's not an opt-out, opt-in or anything. It just lets them know that the program exists and includes instructions about how they would go about joining the program if they wanted to. I can work with you. I know that you guys will want to take a look at the wording of that and all that good stuff, but that usually goes out around the same time the opt-out letters do. And then once the opt-outs come back in, we'll submit enrollment to AEP Ohio. Your residents will get what's called a rescission letter, basically more or less saying, you've been entered into a program with so-and-so supplier, whoever that would be. That goes on for 7 days, and then after that, your residents can still, as we've said before, opt out of the program at any point, or they can switch into the program at any point at no cost to them, going either way. So that's kind of how it goes. 10 days for the PUCO letters to be approved. Opt-out letters are out for 21 days. During that time period, people can call in to opt out. They can email the supplier to opt out, or they can reach out to us to get it taken care of. And then once enrollment's submitted, they'll initially be included, but they can still opt out at any point. So that's kind of, if you guys have any more questions about the process, you're more than welcome to reach out to me.
To be clear for the residents, that means a June start for your program. You flow electric during June at the new rate. July, you'll see it on your bill, the new rate and supplier, okay? And you can use budget billing. Anybody who's in budget billing currently will remain in budget billing, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for all the work.
Appreciate it, everybody. Everyone, thanks.
Nice meeting you.
Moving on to our zoning, public hearing to consider LTZ 19-01 submitted by David and Brenda Brecka requesting a proposal. Proposed amendment to the Liberty Township zoning resolution, which will rezone one parcel from planned residential district, PR, farm residence district, FR1, to permit the development of one single-family residence. Delaware County Tax Parcel 319-140-02016001, which is 39.27 acres, is located at 7556 Old Huntington River Road, Delaware, Ohio 43015, and is range 19, Section 3, Section 1, Liberty Township, Delaware, County, Ohio. Zoning Commission approved LTZ 1901 with a 4 yes to 0 no vote. Do we have anyone here for that application?
Well, thank you, David and Brenda, for that's awesome.
So it's basically going from a parcel that was supposed to have, how many?
It originally was with the Trails End rezoning, and that was for 56 lots. And then Allington took it down to 25 lots, and now the Freckas are down to 1 lot.
Yeah, but that's for both the front and back parcel, right? There's the 40 acres in front, and then there's,
Correct. Usually going.
so, but this is just for the parcel in front.
Right, correct.
That's nuts. In a good way.
That's great. So we'll do that, I guess, next meeting? Oh, we're gonna do it now, so, okay.
You need a vote, correct?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve LTZ 1901.
Second.
And thank you to them. Wonderful.
Mrs. Linehan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperling?
Yes.
Could be a critic until like.
I know.
Take you longer.
I know.
Next, we have a zoning request for,
That's the question. Back when the Arlington developer met with the trustees and talked about that development, he pledged a contribution, significant contribution per lot to the Oval Trail Fund for every lot that was developed. Does that still stand, or does this remove that?
my property is no longer owned by that developer.
Okay, so it's the whole property is owned by someone else then?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
But he did make a donation, didn't he, early on?
No.
I don't think so.
No, he never made any donation?
Do they still own property in the area?
No.
Okay.
He had purchased the property, proposed a development, made that offer, has since turned around and sold all the property to the single,
Was that back in 14?
sounds about 2014-ish, does that sound about right? 14, 15?
No, that's how it
Yes. Moving on.
Yes.
We have a request for violation fee waiver at the Gravestone Scrambler Breweries. Looks like we do have someone here for that.
Hi, my name is Oliver Holtzberry. I'm with Day Night Sign Company. I'm representing Scramblers here tonight. We filed the permits back about a year ago for them. They had an existing cabinet on their location there, and they just changed their logo, so they refaced it with a new face in there. And we actually did file, we looked up at the city of Powell, because it's a Powell address, and we filed the building department permit with them and got it approved. Because I know it's a little confusing there how Powell sometimes represents Liberty Township's building department for signs. But this was kind of my first time dealing with that, so I was unaware that there was a zoning permit that was needed as well for the face replacement. So they contacted me a couple weeks ago and showed me this notice of violation for not filing a zoning permit. And so I already filed the zoning permit that was needed and turned that in last week. So we were just seeing if you could work with us here to waive the $150 fee. I don't want this to affect Scramblers in a negative way because we did fail to file that zoning permit.
So if I understand, there is a $150 fee for the zoning's permit, which has been paid to this point. Tracy, do you know?
I don't know if he's paid the $150.
I don't think we paid for it. We turned the fee in yet. I was gonna wait until this meeting to cut a check for
And
that.
then there's a violation, which is 100% of the fee, which is $150. So it sounds like what he's asking for is the violation aspect of it, but the zoning permit would still be paid.
We would still pay the $150 for the zoning like normal.
Okay.
So you're saying you paid something to the city of Powell on accident?
No, we did. There's two permits for this zoning, for this sign. So we did file and pay $130 to the city of Powell.
You just didn't pay.
Just wasn't aware that Liberty Township needed their permit as well.
So the building department is who he's referring to.
It's very confusing.
Really, what is it? Yeah, pretty close.
One's a building permit, right, and one's a zoning permit.
And the other one's just ensuring that the sign meets code.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is standard.
I just had, the only difficult is then what is our, if we do it, like we always talk about this, if we do it for this one, and Scramblers is a fantastic business to have in our community and I appreciate it, but if we do it for this one, then what's the gauge for the next one that comes in?
I hear that there was some effort to try to do it right. And so, if someone doesn't make an effort to try to do it right, then yeah, I would say you can't wait. But, I don't know.
I'll move to waive the penalty fee.
I'll second
Mr. Gemperle?
it. Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yeah.
Mrs. Icorn?
No.
So you'll just need to get into the office and file what should have been filed.
Okay, thank you for your
All
time.
right, thank you.
Resolutions. 190400101, purchase orders and blanket certificates.
Move to approve resolution 190400101.
Well, if you're waiting for me, I second it.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperle?
Yes.
And I'll move to approve resolution 190400102, accepting bills, warrants, and charges.
Second.
Mr. Gemperle?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
03, we're going to add a new fund to take care of the soft billing for the EMS.
And that's a requirement that we all have by state.
Right, it is a requirement.
Move to approve resolution 190400103.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Resolution 4 is authorizing a request for engineering assistance for a multi-use trail on Rutherford Road. This would go to the county engineer's office for them to review and possibly draw up plans and give us an estimate.
And Matt, we talked earlier, this would be on the south side, not the north side, correct?
Just going to go through my backyard.
Where is this, how far over? To where?
Rutherford between Bay Hill and Church of Price. Church of Price is actually in Powell on the north side of the road.
And this is just to see what it costs. This isn't
Right,
talking
this
about
is-
us doing
no.
it, this isn't talking about, this, again, we have to.
No
like
money.
I said, like, I know we talked a lot about Jewett Road, we talked about a lot of things, so this is just to see how much it would cost.
Correct, no money involved right now.
I haven't heard about this yet. When did this come up? Is this on the list of trails?
Yeah, it was
Most
one of the
popular?
recommendations that Opal made in our annual progress report.
Was it number 1?
It's of the priorities that were explored with the public survey. Liberty Road was number 1, that's been completed. Home Road is very complicated, we're working on a piecemeal. Rutherford Road is 3rd priority.
All right, great.
And the advantage is there are a lot of neighborhoods along that road that are just stuck there. They can't get out other than by car. This would connect them to Sawmill Trail, north and south.
So we've got one now from Sawmill to Tricia Price
Right,
on the north side.
that's right.
Is there a crosswalk?
No, there isn't, but it would be, from an engineering perspective, it would be a lot easier to do it on the south side from that point
Yeah.
further west because there's a very deep drainage ditch on the north side.
Yeah.
And so You know, we don't care which side it's on, but we just suggested the south side because it looks like it would be a lot less expensive to do. It also avoids the intersection with Stites Road, which has become very busy. So not having to cross Stites Road on the trail would be an advantage.
So we'll put in a crosswalk then.
Okay.
And then, you know, like that one on Summit View? Or yeah, Summit View, even though it's smack dab in the middle of the street,
Yeah.
it's still, you have to have it.
Yeah.
You have to.
I think the crossing would be at a intersection.
Yeah, it is at an
South side,
intersection. There's an intersection right there.
So, and then it would go to Bay Hill.
Yes,
So that whole subdivision could pull out into there.
right.
Okay.
And it also allows residents along there to get to the park.
Yeah, you know, when it said
Traffic in the park.
Rutherford, I was thinking on the other side of Sawmill,
The
and
west,
that's
west
spot.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's still a gap on the other side
Yeah.
too, and we'd like it to be end to end, but this is probably the piece that provides more access to more people for the amount of
And more,
work.
it provides more safety.
Right.
Down there where it's missing, it's not as.
Yeah, people try to run and bike and walk along there, and it's gotten very dangerous, so.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be some right of way that would need to be purchased or talk to
And
with the
knock on doors
residents to
again.
see if they would,
But
work
there,
with
it's less
us.
on the south than there is the north though, right?
Yes,
It's less on the
yes.
south. Yeah, because if one looked at it, it would, like we talked about, it would be very difficult, I think, to do it on the north.
Yeah.
Okay, move to approve resolution 190400104.
Second.
Mrs. Lenihan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperly?
Yes.
Resolution 5 is authorizing another request for engineering assistance for a speed study on Creighton Drive. This would be between Riverside and Pine Creek. It's currently 25 miles per hour.
What do they want it to be? What do they want the speed limit to be if it's 25?
Well, it's not so much the speed limit, but trying to figure out what the speeds currently are.
Oh, okay. Move to approve resolution 190400105.
I'll second that. Is this to
They're just concerned about the speed going.
people
over
speeding,
25.
is what they're concerned about? Is it that they're questioning that people are speeding? The study won't make it not speed. People giving tickets is what's going to make them not speed, right? They could do the study, and that's it. Well, people average here 35 miles an hour, and we need to raise the speed limit.
And I don't, being in a residential area, 25 tends to be the maximum speed anyways. It's taking a look at current traffic and then trying to see if there's any way to get people to drive 25.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most past studies have found that those who go above the speed limit in neighborhoods tend to be some of the residents that actually live in the neighborhood, is what past studies have shown.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperly?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenihan?
Yes.
Resolution 6 is authorizing expenditures for cemetery maintenance and repair work. This would be kind of work with the existing tombstones.
All right, move to approve resolution 190400106.
Second.
There should be a grant opportunity coming forward that the Ohio Township Association was pushing for. So as soon as that comes up, we'll apply for that and hopefully get some assistance from that as well.
Is that the home road one? Is that on home road? The pictures look like home road. I didn't know that was our cemetery. I thought that belonged to the church. Oh, okay.
All cemeteries are pretty much the responsibility of the township.
Township, right.
Okay.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenihan?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperly?
Yes.
Resolution 7 is authorizing the purchase of mastic material for large road joint repairs.
Move to approve resolution 190400107.
Second.
Mr. Gimperly?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenihan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Going back to the same cemetery, Resolution 8 is authorizing expenditures for tree removal, which is currently dead, and concern of it toppling over, potentially destroying tombstones, plus the people are in the cemetery, the safety of that as well.
Okay, move to approve resolution 190400108.
Second.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
And since it's a safety issue, how quickly can we have that done?
It'll be 2 to 3 weeks.
Do we need to do anything to cover ourselves now on this? Does there need to be a sign? Should there be anything?
We'll coordinate
Okay.
with the church.
I don't even hurt.
Block all that side of the parking lot.
I don't want to.
I
Backstory.
think you're maybe asking between now and the time the tree's removed.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
Not when the tree is being removed.
I mean, I'm looking at the pictures.
Is it
Is it
gonna
so- like,
fall?
I mean, I guess you can never tell. I mean, does it look so bad in person that it's about to fall at any moment, or we're just,
We can put some caution tape up, put some signs up.
Resolution 9 is authorizing the purchase of crack sealant for road repairs.
Move to approve resolution 190400109.
Second.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
yes.
Resolution 10 is authorizing and approving payment of 2019 BWC Group Rating Program annual administrative fees.
Move to approve resolution 190400110.
Second.
And this, just to give you background, currently we're with CareWorks as our TPA. We pay about $6,000 a year. Last year, I was going to move to a different one, and we were in, because of our past history, we could not get out of the particular rating we were in. But CareWorks dropped our fee when they knew we were kind of jiggling around a little bit. This company can now take us on because we have lost some of our worst. We had a very bad claim about 5 years ago, and that's now dropped off, so we can be in a different rating program. This company can do that for, it's $1,200, around $1,700, so it'll be about a $4,000 savings.
Great.
Kathy, I know you got two. Did you by chance get a third quote from anyone?
There's very few that do for townships, so comp management, we can go Shakely, but Shakely has very few townships. So it's comp management, CareWorks are pretty much.
But you got two.
Move to approve resolution 1904011.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
That should be 10, right?
10, yeah.
10.
Okay.
040110.
I'm not Laura. I said
Sorry.
Okay.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
You're doing the job.
Okay, we'll flip it. All right, that sounds good.
Resolution 11 is accepting the fact finder's report recommendations of a new 3-year renewal agreement between Liberty Township and the International Association of Firefighters.
Move to approve resolution 1904011.
Second.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Resolution 12 is authorizing Big Bear Park maintenance and use agreement with Play Fanatics Ohio Youth Connection. So we're finally going to get someone interested in Big Bear Park.
Great. Move to approve resolution 190401112.
Second.
Andy, are they completely new?
Yes, they are.
Yes? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's
Flag football.
like grade school.
Yeah, like 3 and 4-year-olds, that's what they said.
Oh, so real little?
Real little.
Wow, okay.
So they might be able to get 2 fields on that park. And I think they have an agreement with the school for parking.
Yes, yep.
Oh, at Cider Ridge?
Yeah.
Okay. So
They
they should be
did.
parking at the church, they should be parking at the school?
Yeah, actually, they got an agreement with both.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's a lot of 3 and 4-year-olds playing then, I think.
Resolution 13 is authorizing, oh, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
My apologies. Resolution 13 is authorizing expenditures for private legal counsel, and this continues to help with contract negotiations, human resource issues, grievances, arbitrations, things like that.
Move to approve resolution 19040113.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Resolution 14 is authorizing the purchase of a sanitary pump for South Liberty Park, YMCA.
Move to
This
approve.
past week, both pumps went down, there was some backup. Got one pump working and the other one just need to be replaced.
Sorry. Move to approve resolution 19040114.
Second.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
And resolution 15, I believe, is on to be saved for the next meeting after we meet with the county on Wednesday. I'll follow up with our current IT provider.
Your table.
Okay.
Do we need to take a vote on the table?
Not if it just doesn't come up, I think. If it doesn't come up, we're not,
What's it for? Okay.
If
you're not
it's easier,
considering it.
table it. But I did talk with J.C. Comstock and explain what was going on. He's okay with waiting until the next meeting on the 15th.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're doing it correctly.
And I do have a resolution for consideration after executive session. It's annual compensation increase for one of our employees. So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
And this is just part of the annual, is due back in January.
All right, we need to go into executive session.
Can we do new business real quick?
Oh, sure.
Melanie, you brought this up maybe a year or two ago on Selma Parkway. I know we're dealing with the presidential and Selma, and we've done improvements there. Remember we had trees removed, we did a lot there. Before you get there, remember we talked about that would be attics, right? When you're
To the
going.
north,
Addicts, stuff like that.
Yes, like you're getting closer, like you would go.
by the new system.
Yes.
That is Gray Oaks and Addicts, correct?
So tell me, because I know going down that road, it goes Powell, Liberty Township, that road is difficult. On that intersection of Summer Parkway and Addicts, who owns what there?
I think we have 3 corners. No, that's one south.
In order to give the proper answer, I have to look at the auditors.
Sorry, Andy, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, I know you gotta look at the computer. I think,
Look at it.
I think we only have one corner.
Okay.
The southwest corner where the office buildings are.
can you take a look at this? Because what I want to talk about is, I know you at that time had talked about even doing a stop sign on Southmont Parkway. We thought really after talking about that may not work, but I want us to revisit and see, and kind of like we did at Presidential, is there other things we can do? Because when I drove up there, again, even moving that stop bar, if you, again, when you're talking about young drivers or whatever, and they stop at that stop, you cannot see to the left, you just can't. So I wanted to see if Trustee Gepperline and Trustee Lanahan, you would be in agreement of us trying to start taking a look at that, seeing if we can do some improvements to that.
Yeah, we did a study on it.
I don't remember what came back on that though.
No.
But I think we can try to be somewhat creative.
There wasn't enough traffic, and then we said, well, but there will be when they make the changes. There has to be an extreme amount of traffic for the county engineer to agree to do anything. However, we can do certain things without their approval.
Well, and that's what I want to look at. Like at first, I think we can look at going out there, because I know there is still accidents at Presidential and Selma Parkway. I'm not acting like that is fixed, but I think it's improved somewhat, and we're continuing to look at ways to improve it. But going back to addicts, is there some things that we can do in the meantime to improve that as well? So
I think maybe we can reach out to Powell Engineer's office, maybe do another meeting out at the intersection.
and we look very excited about this being added to your to-do list.
I think we've had this discussion with Powell.
Not so much at that intersection, I don't believe so.
No?
It's the
Tons of
presidential
presidential,
one
we have there.
down to the south we have. But I know I haven't met with the county out on that intersection.
Or at least let's, and if so, can we pull the notes, revisit it? I just think it needs to be revisited.
Okay.
I inadvertently, I did not add public comment here because this was a, you start a special session.
Okay.
So my apologies in advance for that. So if you
Did you do it?
I have no forms, but I didn't want anyone to think that we just removed it.
Yeah.
No more public
That's
comment.
okay. All right, I'm gonna move to go into executive session for ORC 12122 G1, consider the compensation, what are those names? Compensation,
Public employee.
okay, just compensation of a public employee.
Mr. Gafferline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.